Hi, everyone. Welcome to the One Podcast. I'm excited that we have two guests on today. They are actually business partners, as you can see by their branding in the back. So they are very good friends and business partners. We have Natasha, the blonde, and Anissa, the darker blonde. So if you can't see that, because we're going to have you on YouTube and on our podcast, I'm excited for them to share their stories with you today about their brand, how they know each other, how they rose into being the one. So we'll start off with you, Natasha. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you felt called into what you were doing, and then let's talk about your partnership and switch over into Anissa. Or you guys can do it however you want. Jump on in.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having us, Lisa. We really appreciate it. And this has been kind of a journey for both of us, but my individual journey is that I am now a mom of two young kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. He just turned 4. So my kids are 18 months apart, but I didn't have kids until my 40s. So there was a whole life that I lived before that. I was in the military and I was in corporate C-suite backgrounds. But when I was about 20 years old, I started entrepreneurship. I always had side hustles. I had my own real estate investment company when I was 20, did that for a few years, rode that wave, then went into the fitness industry, rode that wave, then went back into real estate investing and rode that wave again, and have kind of been all over the place. The one thing that has always stayed really consistent for me, however, was coaching. I always loved, that's one of the things I loved about fitness was being a trainer and helping people get the body that they wanted and feel better about themselves. When I was doing real estate, I would coach other people about what properties to buy or how to analyze things. And again, I felt like I was helping them to create financial stability for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had my first son, for the first time ever since I was 16, I was 41 when I had him, I decided to take an entire year off of working. And I am like a workhorse. It is in my DNA. I love every second of it. When people say, "What's your hobby?" I'm like, work is my hobby. That's my hobby. It was so hard for me to let that go and that identity go. And it was an entire shift of the core of who I was, going from, entrepreneur and worker and all these things to mom, and just having one human that needed me for everything. And I loved it, but I also still felt pulled to do something else. And so I got pregnant when my son was 10 months old. I got pregnant with my second when I was 43. Who gets pregnant for the first time naturally at 43? Because my first son was IVF. And then I decided, okay, I'm ready to go back. I want to do something where I'm not in a corporate environment, that I'm creating something for myself. I absolutely do not love being online. You can ask Anissa. I do not like sharing my life. I do not like posting content. I do not like any of that, but I thought this is going to be one of the ways if I can overcome that fear and teach myself how to do digital marketing and how to put myself out there in small pieces, in small bits. If I can put myself out there, then I really can see that I may be able to help other women who are feeling the same way. And so that leads me up to the point of meeting my beautiful partner. And we have an amazing story, but I definitely want her to share hers first, and then we can get into how we came together.
Yeah, so I don't have the same story as Natasha, but I have some similar things. So I was also in corporate America for a very long time. I am also a workhorse. I love to work. I've had a job since I was 12 years old. I was raised by a single mom. We did not come from money. She was always constantly struggling. Everything was always very scarce, paycheck to paycheck. We can't afford this, can't have that. So my mindset around money was like that for a long time, and it took me many years to change that. And I just turned 40 last year, and I had been in a male dominated industry for over 10 years, had a great job. When it comes to everything that your career woman in America wants to check off as far as like ticking boxes, I ticked them all. It was like I had a great job, great boss, 6 figures, work from home, flexibility, seniority, all the things. But one thing I realized was I'm not average. And I just wanted so much more for myself and so much more for my family. I also have small children. I had my kids also later in the game. So my twins are 5 years old. I have a boy and a girl. And we relocated from New Jersey to Florida in 2022, started a business down here. We also were focused heavily on real estate investing. And while it was making us great money, it was something also like my job. It's like my cup wasn't being filled. So shortly after moving to Florida, I was diagnosed with melanoma. So it was like, welcome to the Sunshine State, but stay out of the sunshine. And thank God it's treatable. I'm healthy. It's something that I have in check. But it really put my mortality into perspective and made me realize what my most valuable asset is, which is just time. And at the same time, I was putting in these 18-hour days balancing my career, my business, my family. My daughter came to me and she was like, Mom, how come you don't love us anymore? I was like, oh my gosh, of course that's not true. But in her toddler mind, it was true. So I was like, well, something has to go and it's not going to be my business. So I left my six-figure job. I went all in on myself and my business. I bet on myself. And very shortly thereafter, I met Natosha, and we have just skyrocketed in the past year. Our business is just booming. It was like a match made in heaven. Literally, our clients and people online, they ask us all the time, like, how do we find what you have? It's like when you see that perfect couple, and we're like, we don't even know. Neither one of us was even looking for a partner. But Million Dollar Mom Society was born because we were both in the space of coaching and serving moms. And our company was founded on the principle of collaboration over competition. And we are always coming from the space of how can we support other women? How can we lift other women up? How can we get them to succeed in business? How can we get them to realize that they can have it all? They don't have to make a choice between family and business. And that's what we do.
I love that I have never heard your stories before because I relate to so much. I am the total opposite. Never married, no kids, but my youngest brother waited to until his 40s to have kids, and so they had one IVF and then they had twins that right after, and I'm obsessed with those twins. Obsessed. Twin one this month. But I did the exact same thing that you did. And it was July 1st of 2020, I walked away from my career and promised myself not to work for 1 year to discover who I was. I was a full-blown workaholic, and it was the hardest thing. I was like, I don't know who I am. I was so devastated, but I think it's important, and especially when with your background, you come from a single mom who has to work so hard to provide for her children, which so many women relate to. So many listeners will know. Most of my good friends are single mothers, and I think the ability to find yourself and to take whatever measures it requires to do so is so important. And then you guys are doing this while being mothers. I mean, that's amazing. And I feel like so many moms, the minute you choose to have children or are surprised and have a child, you put your entire life on hold because you're doing the most important thing in the world, raising a human. But you two have chosen to raise the humans and have the careers that you choose, and then you find each other. I think
Yeah.
so. Tell us a little bit about, I know this won't happen for everybody, but how did that conversation happen? Let's collaborate and create something together.
Kind of funny because we do these 3-day events every month for that are like free master classes. And so we were like, we should find the exact message and the date of when it happened. And it was March 29th, so almost a year ago. And I had been watching Anissa because she's just a fireball of energy. And even when I've heard her story 1,000 times, and every time I hear it, it feels like the first time I've heard it. And I'm always so drawn to her. I mean, she just has such a charismatic personality. And so she's online and I'm just watching her do all these things. And she was asking people if they were interested in being part of an anthology book that she was doing. And I so wanted to reach out to her. But I was talking to my husband about it and he goes, I don't reach out. Don't be a desperate, like girl. Don't let her come to you kind of thing. And I was like, but she's not even going to notice me. It was just one of those things. And so I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then oddly enough, she messaged me in the DMs maybe a few weeks later. Hey, I've been watching you and I think that there might be a way for us to collaborate together. And I wanted to be like, oh my God, I've been watching you too, but I didn't. I played it cool. I was like, oh, thanks. No, I'm just kidding.
Fascinating.
And Yeah, so it honestly was like a DM conversation, which is hilarious because Anissa and I ignore about 80, like 98% of DMs that come into our inbox. But there was something about her and something about me, and we just were like, we have to talk. And so we started supporting each other's businesses first. It started out that way for maybe about 60 days or so, where she would be like, would you be interested in doing something with this? And I was like, would you be interested with this? And then we got to the point where we're like, why are we doing this? We are talking every day as if we're already business partners anyway, and like bouncing ideas off of each other. And what are you doing for this? And so I was driving to Arizona from California to visit family. It was a 9-hour drive. And Anissa thankfully was home that day. And we were calling each other back and forth. And I was like, we just have to do something together. Let's come up with it. And on that drive, Million Dollar Mom Society was born. And so we decided to jump in. We went from not even knowing each other as of March 29th to launching our first program in June. And it was a very quick thing. We had our branding, we had our websites, we had our programs built out. We made 6 figures in our first 6 months together. And we were always on the same page about where our vision was, who we wanted to serve, how we wanted to do that. And we're there to, thankfully, to also be the voice of reason. If one of us is, let's try this, and we'll stay the course. So it's been a beautiful, I have had a lot of business partners in the past. Anissa was not in the same position, but I have actually always gravitated towards, I'd rather do it with somebody. I like that approach, but I have never, ever had the type of connection that I've had with Anissa. It's so effortless, and it makes me feel like a better mom and a better person and a better business owner. And I know she feels the same way. And like you said, this will not happen for everybody. I feel like we were brought together at the right time in our life, and we were open to receiving each other as partners. But yeah, it's been a beautiful relationship and partnership.
So what's hilarious is I live in Arizona, and
Oh, really?
yes, and I go back. Well, I'm from Huntington Beach.
Oh my God.
Between that drive, that you said that 9-hour drive, and I was like, I've done that 9-hour drive all the time. What do you?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Arizona. I was born in Yuma, but my family lives in Tucson. And then also I was stationed in Phoenix when I was in the military. So I kind of all over. And then I live in Mission Viejo right now. So I'm not that far from where, but I actually lived in Huntington for a while, for 2 years. So.
And where are you based?
So originally I'm from New Jersey, but I live in Orlando now.
That's right. Oh, and then you were on the drive, but talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
She's East Coast, I'm West Coast, and we kind of keep each other balanced with that.
I like that. I think what you were saying, obviously, this is not going to happen for everyone, but what I was hearing from what you were saying is two things. Number one, we all tend to ignore many messages in our DMs, which we just kind of get past. Not everybody does, but there are people watching you all the time that you don't know about. And you'll be perfectly aligned. So if you're open to it and you get these ideas and you follow the nudges and follow your intuition, I love how there was a little bit of I'm not going to message. Okay, well, yes, then she'll come to me. And I think it's so beautiful how the universe works. So
Yes.
be open and consistently, if you're desiring something, if you're dreaming of something, if you would love a partnership, you got to trust the universe. And I always talk with clients about if you look at your life, the greatest blessings and the greatest opportunities require your timeline. So you got to be focused and on time, but the timing of the other person to intersect with you. So we got to be clear on the goals, but we got to trust the universe has got to get this other person in line too. So there's always two.
It's so interesting that you bring that up because I mean, our timing was so very divine when we came together, like just where we were in our lives and our businesses, it just aligned absolutely perfectly. But even now that we are partnered up, when one of us is off or out of alignment with either something in our lives or something, just one thing is out of whack, we feel it, and we feel it together in our partnership. We feel it in our business. We can feel it in our relationships. It's really interesting how that works. And we are very in tune with, we're going through learning our human design charts, and we're both Manny Gens. And it's interesting how it just all aligns. But when it is aligned, which is, I would say 90% of the time, it is absolutely magical. It's magnetic and it's amazing. It really is. I've never had an experience like this in my life before. And I'm just so excited to share it with the world because it's possible.
I think there will be listeners or viewers that can go the route of feeling, well, I can't do this unless I have a partner. Like, I'm scared. I'm not going to do it unless I can find that partner. But I do think you wouldn't have found each other if you both wouldn't have been brave. Because I'm very similar to you, Natasha. I hate being online. I didn't want to do a lot of presence. I don't love to tell my story. However, you both took the brave steps first and then intersected. And I also like that there's going to be listeners or viewers who haven't considered a partnership or a collaboration before. And this is going to plant the seed that makes them think, what if? What if I did add this partner? What could happen to my business? What could happen? I love the support between the two of you, the alignment. You can just feel that there's such a great chemistry and combination there, and that you both bring your own little flavor to it. And I don't want listeners to think, oh, because I can't have this, I can't, or until I have this, I'm not going to. I'd rather have you guys think, oh, this is what's possible. And in order for me to align and connect with that, I need to step into all of who I am now. And if that's meant to happen, it will. You got to put that desire out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, like when Anissa talked about it was divine timing, I had just launched a program at the time. I was doing UGC and some other things online, and I had just launched a high ticket program that had taken off. And then she had her own coaching program that was taking off. And so we were literally like at the cusp of both of our individual businesses just taking off. So I think had we waited much longer, we probably individually would have been building our own empires. And it would have been more, we would have still found each other and connected, but it would have been more in a support. I'll support your business, you support my business. I don't think we would have then given up our individual things to come together. So it again was just that perfect amount of where I was doing something and I was excited about it and I was passionate about it. She was doing something, she was excited and passionate about it. But when we started talking about what our visions were, I was like, well, that's exactly what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And then her strengths versus my strengths, and having somebody like I'm like a behind the scenes person. I like the tech. I like to organize things. I even love I love the coaching piece of it and just being one-on-one or in our group setting. And Anissa is amazing at networking and being online and being the one who becomes the face of the brand and sharing her story. We so balance each other out in that way. And so I think that is also what connected us. But like I said, we in our own right, we're becoming powerhouses. So for anyone who's listening, who's thinking, well, I can't do it if I don't have a partner, we would have done well no matter what. But together we're epic, that we're going to reach a level that I don't know we would have ever reached on our own. So
I love that.
Yes, definitely individually, we had both built six-figure businesses on our own. But now, like this year, we've been less than a year in business, hit the six figures, on track to do seven. So it's just like that empire has just been fast tracked for us. And again, like I was not looking for a partner. She wasn't looking for one. We're both like type A personalities, like need to be in charge. We're like the bosses, but it just works so well together. It's amazing because we do share a brain pretty much, but also we have our individual, unique, God-given gifts and talents. So.
And it's like every relationship out there, if you're rising to the height of who you want to become, you're going to align with someone at that energy level in a relationship. And for people that have never even considered a partnership, who could I become in a partnership? Had I ever thought about that? And it doesn't mean you have to join an entire business together. Although I love that this is such a beautiful example of what can be. And I love that you brought in two type A personalities. That's a key point because for a lot of us, if you are running your own business, it is all on you. And so you know in your mind, I am running it. How would I ever combine with somebody else when I've created this whole thing myself with my vision? What if there's going to be disconnect? What if there's not going to be that shared vision? What if there's going to be that, no, I'm the boss, you're the boss.
yeah.
So I think it's so important for people to see that this is possible.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about what your vision is. Is this mainly for moms? Talk a little bit about the $1 Million Mom Society.
You want me to take it? Yeah. So yes, of course, that was our initially when we're big on who's our dream avatar buyer, who are we talking to? And of course, she is a mom. However, we have a lot of women inside of our community who are not moms. And we are Anissa and I'm actually like you, Lisa. So from the time I was little, I remember when I was 8 years old, you think about like pivotal times in your life. My best friend and I were sitting and playing, and she was like, I'm going to be a mom and have 2 kids. And I was like, I'm going to be a CEO and carry a briefcase and play tennis because in the 80s, that's what you did to be rich. And, and I was like, and I'm going to be the best aunt ever. I never thought I was going to be a mom. It was not on my vision board. I didn't want to get married. These were not dreams of mine. My dream was like, I'm going to travel the world and run an empire. I just knew it at a young age. And that's pretty much what I did. And then when I met my husband, of course, it was similar feeling to when I met Anissa, where it was like we were just drawn to each other. And he was like, well, it's a non-negotiable for me. Kids are what I've always wanted. And so I really had to reevaluate my life and say, like, I've done all the things, I've checked all the boxes, I've created the life that I love. Do I have space in my heart and in my soul to like now have a family? And I realized that's probably what was missing for me. And so I love my babies. They're my everything. And I thankfully I have found a way to balance those. But in saying that, we very much identify with the women who do not have children. Like we were those women for so long. It was such a huge core foundation of who I am. And so we speak to that woman. We know who she is. We know how she feels. We know what her goals are and her desires are and her dreams are. So we are helping all women. However, at the phase we are in our life, we tend to right now connect the most with, moms that are entrepreneurs.
That's important because so many moms are looking for that. And if you're not a mom, we really don't get it. But we
Yeah.
can try. I can do my very best to imagine and I can witness it with my friends.
Mhm.
But we don't know exactly how it is to balance the marriage,
Mhm.
the children, and build and sustain and expand a really successful business. I can imagine if I was a mom to be able to come here and have that vision of it has been accomplished and it's continuing to grow. And so I have leaders and I'm surrounded by others walking this path with me, either a couple steps ahead or right here with me equally. What a great vision to have. I love that.
Yeah, and I had very similar, I never wanted kids. I didn't want children. And then when I was married, my husband and I were married for a couple of years and things change. You get a little bit older and we talked about it and everything. And then we had some issues with it. And then finally I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I was not willing to give up the career or the business. That's just part of who I am. And I want to show women that it's possible. You don't have to choose. Because my mom chose. She had all these big dreams and she wanted to be an entrepreneur and she wanted to be an investor. And she really just gave up after she got divorced. Like her kids were her life and there was nothing else. Yeah, she had her job and her career, but that was it. She never followed through with any of her big dreams. And she had the capability to dream big. She just thought she had to choose her children. And so now I'm living vicariously through her dreams after she has passed away. And I want to show my daughter that she can have whatever she wants. She doesn't have to make a choice.
I love this. And I feel called to say for the moms that have chosen to be the full-time mom. But you hear this and think, okay, I don't necessarily want a career. And I feel very noble in my calling. First, I want to acknowledge that. In my opinion, there is nothing more noble than taking time in your life to choose I'm going to raise a human being. I'm going to dedicate time of my life to raise a human. And even if you're not going to choose to build this flourishing big career, I do think this is a beautiful place to come and see that there are dreams that I feel in my soul that I may not be choosing to build today, but they're still my dreams. They're still sitting here. They're in me for a reason. And so I have this group of women leading that they followed their dreams. Their dreams happen to be growing these multiple 6 and 7 figure businesses. This society of women shows you it's possible to fulfill the dreams and raise the children. I think you're honestly, obviously leading women who want to build that, but I don't want any woman who hears this to think less of themselves for not choosing it or to ignore your dream that may be planted in the back of your mind could be to write a book. And I want you to hear their story and remember, oh, I was thinking I couldn't write the book because I'm the mom, or I don't have the time to write the book because I'm the mom. because in our stories of being the one, your dream is your dream and it's yours because it's meant to come through you. So, whatever that is, I want you to hear their voices and I want you to see their faces and recognize they just chose to follow their dream and they found each other. So, they've found the balance, the marriage, the children, and the dream. And I would invite any listener or viewer to say, okay, am I coming across these women because I have a dream and have I been shoving that dream down thinking there's no way to balance it, or that I have to choose and wait, or that it's more important to raise my children and my dreams don't get to be fulfilled. I really want that message to get through. That's what they're modeling for you. And they're just choosing, let's build a multi-million dollar business. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No big
I
deal.
think I think it's so interesting that you brought that up too, like about the books. We actually have 3 books releasing this year. So I have one solo book that's coming out, Fierce, Fearless, and 40. And then we have 2 collaborative anthology books where it's Natosha and I writing chapters, but then other women are coming in and writing chapters. And both of them are all about turning our passions into profits and how we've built, these dreams and these businesses. But I think one of the most critical things you just said, there is no right or wrong. Like everybody gets to choose what makes them happy. When I went through this big transformation last year, I decided like I'm only going to do things that really fulfill me and make me happy. There is nothing that I'm going to do that doesn't, because we're here for a good time. We're not here for a long time. So we might as well be happy while we're here.
Yeah. Kind
Yeah.
of what she was saying, like that's what I was going to piggyback on as far as being a mom. Like that year that I took off that I wasn't working, it was the hardest year of my life and also the most fulfilling year of my life because I was able to connect with my son in a way that I never would have been able to had I been working and focused on a business or growing something. And then, but there was also that side of me that I felt it was like an internal thing. The one thing that when you talked about, Lisa, how it's hard to be able to identify if you're not a mom and being a mom, especially because I had 10 nieces before I had any kids. So I thought I was an expert at being a mom until I became a mom. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this was not what I expected. But, not at all. But the thing that we really try to address inside of our community is regardless of what it is that you want to do, mom guilt on both sides. It's like either you feel guilty because all you really want to do is be home with your kids, but you have to work because you have to make money. Or you've got this part of you that you're home with your kids, but you also want to be building something. You feel guilty about that. You feel guilty because, well, there's so many women who would love to be in this position that could be home with their kids full time. And here I seem selfish because I also want to do this other thing. And who am I to want everything? So we really try to more address the mom guilt that just comes with on both sides of it, where it's like, whatever, we want you to live in a space where you have choice. That's all it is. So if you're working this hard because you want to build something that's automated so that you can be home and present 100% with your children, that is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself. Right. And if you are with your kids full time right now and you're dreaming about building something on the side, that is a beautiful, amazing marriage that you can create. But finding that space where you don't have the constant regret because you're not 100% in this and I'm not 100% in this, I'm not really present in anything, that you're being pulled in a million different directions. It's so different than when you're in a place where you don't have kids and you've got a little bit more flexibility with your time. Now, I still was working my butt off when I had no kids. I still felt like I had no time when I had no kids, but it definitely was that thing where like the mom guilt is so real. And I have never met a mom yet that doesn't carry that torch to some degree. So that's really what we try to help women work through mostly.
I have a feeling that there are going to be some women that come across this too that are on that the seed is brewing in their head that I might want to become a mom. And I haven't seen the vision of how it's possible. And it might be too late. And I love that both of your stories are children later and that you're choosing this and that there was actually, okay, I'm contemplating, do I really want this? Can I fit this in my life? I think that's an important part of both of your stories too, is that there are women that haven't thought that yet and will hear this and be like, there is a way to do this, or I had ruled that out. I'm going to have to choose one or the other. And you are these beautiful, perfect examples of it can be done. all of it can be done. There's ways to live your dream. And I love that you just said, before I even had kids, I didn't think I had time. How would have I ever thought there would be time for children? Well, now you're raising two of them. So
Yeah.
clearly you made the space. When you have the dream, you make the space. We all have
Yeah.
24 hours in a day.
Yes.
Every dream that's ever been accomplished, someone fit it in their 24 hours per day. So anything you see around you that has existed made it in that 24-hour window. So it's just, where do we put the balance and the focus? And like
Yeah.
you were saying, expanding that capacity of what you've already been into. And I'm sure that's what you guys are doing in your company, is showing, here's who you are, and we're going to help you expand. You're so capable. I love this. This is so beautiful. Tell us a little bit about how do people find you? What are your favorite social medias, and how can people work with you?
Yeah, so primarily we are on Facebook. I'm just Anissa Crespo on Facebook. Natasha is Natasha Marie on Facebook. And we're on all the platforms, but we are really advocates for finding one that is your baby and really mastering. And that's what we've done. So we'd invite any women into our Facebook group. It's Million Dollar Mom Society. And that's why we're so big on community as well, because it really does take a village, whether you're a mom or not. I think all women struggle with time management to some degree. So that's how you can find us. And we're on Instagram as well. And we have YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but primarily Facebook. If somebody wants to send us a DM or reach out to us, we don't ignore all the DMs.
We have found the value of the DMs.
Yeah.
Well, and you're exactly right. If we want to come and find the best of you, where you're at the most, your home and your playground right now is Facebook. You can find them
Yes.
anywhere. But you guys also have a podcast. So is there a group inside the brand? Talk about that.
Yes, so we created a methodology called the MOM methodology, which is build it like a mom, which is magnetize, optimize, monetize, and it's really focusing on the three pillars of your business. And so that's where we're really driving our business at this point in time, is that anybody, even though we are 100% right at this moment focused on women, we are even considering opening up our brand to men, because we feel like anybody can build it like a mom. Anybody can focus on these three pillars of their business and create efficiencies and create automation and create magnetize their audience and monetize their audience in different ways. So it's our goal to go out there and help as many people as possible over the next decade that we're planning on building this. And yeah, that's where we're at.
Build it like a mom. I love that. Build it like a mom. I think there are men out there that will hear this story and resonate with that. And I know some really great men that were raised by single moms. And so they've seen how a single woman does it, and there's so much respect out there. There's also going to be men who hear this that will think of their sister who's doing something like this and could love this support. I love the way the universe works, because it's going to carry the message to whoever needs it. I love for people to actually hear the message, whether it comes through a podcast or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and look for how the message actually is meant for me, not how we rule ourselves out of it. And I think in society, we're mainly taught, oh, that's not for me, or we've programmed ourselves to rule ourselves out. Oh, I'm not this, I'm not capable of that. And instead, your stories show so many examples in different ways of how you have chosen, this can work for me. And we're going to make it work by myself, then with my partner, then when I have kids, as I raise my business, and now together. And we're going to lead. I think there's just so many different angles of hearing your stories for people to be inspired that it is possible. It is possible that ...
No.
Yeah, I am loving this.
Thank
So, in the spirit of my theme of being the one, I always ask people to just consider really quickly, if you want to share more about how you discovered or feel that you are the one. I love for you to just end with the sentence that I am the one who.
I am the one who has become the change. I have worked really hard on overcoming a lot of traumas in my life. I have worked really hard on overcoming and switching generational toxicities and raising my children in a way that feels good for me, not just because this is what I learned as I was growing up. And I am someone who walks my talk.
Mm.
Everything that we do every single day that we share with our clients, that we show our clients how to do, we are doing it ourselves. We are out there living the same exact lives that we are teaching our clients how to live. So that would be my one.
I love that. You are, I am the change. You had the vision, you created it, you live it, you walk it, you are it. I love that. What about you, Natasha?
Yes, I am the one who leads women to feel confident enough to do more than what they think they can do. And that's something I've always been passionate about. As a matter of fact, when I went to college, my original degree was in psychology because I was the one that my mother would come to me for advice when I was a kid and treated me as her counselor, and my friends all came to me for advice. And so I've always had that passion and that gift, I feel like, of being a good listener and being able to see people for what's happening and feel their energy and help guide them, but also help them believe in themselves in a way that they may not have been able to believe in themselves before. When I see our clients and the people around us leveling up with something that I would have said or something that made them feel or see things a different way, to me, there's just no better feeling in the world than to know that you're leading the change and you're leading people to their best selves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we all need that, especially when you are choosing to step into something that you haven't done before, to step into your fear, to step into a little bit of expansion, to have someone who can see you, who has the wisdom, who has that gift, to be able to reflect that back to you and to empower you and to walk with you, which I could feel it, but you can hear and see this beautiful cohesion between the two of you. No wonder you guys found each other and became such great partners. I think it's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about what your dream vision is over the next year or two for the future for you.
Our dream is to build $100 million brand, and we want to do that in a lot of different capacities, but we see ourselves, as Anissa mentioned, we have our books and our magazines and different things like that. We really would love to become the place where people come to for leveling up their dreams and their confidence and knowing that, yes, we're big on strategy. I'm a nerd about tech. I can't help it. It's just in my blood. And so we're going to teach you like strategic things that you can do to improve your business and your life. But we also are moving into a space, which is also how we found you and connected with you, right? We're coming into different worlds where it's so much bigger than strategy. It's so much bigger than click this button and do this here and go online here and do this. It's so much more about who you are becoming in the process, like the capacity that you are creating, the space that you're creating, the energy that you're giving off, the beliefs and the words that you're saying to yourself. And so becoming that type of a brand where women see us and identify us with women who are creating change, living the life that they're telling you that they're living, like that they're preaching, but also they're the ones who are grabbing your hands and saying, let's all do this together. There's so much room at the top. We don't want to be sitting up there by ourselves. So the more people we can bring with us, the better off it's going to be and the more exciting it's going to be to celebrate when we get there. And I really genuinely believe that we will get there.
Oh, well, in the spirit of Melanie, which is how we met, one of the greats.
Yes.
You're building a brand that is one of the greats, leading women and maybe men down the road. I love your vision. Go ahead. Were you going to say something, Anissa?
No, I think that she summed it up perfectly. That's exactly where we want to head. I was actually on a mastermind call this morning, and one of the questions was, what is your revenue goal this year? Obviously, for this year, ours is 7 figures. And what does that look like, or what does that mean when you hit that? And for us, it's all about the impact that we can make in the world, the people that we can reach. It's not about buying designer bags and that kind of stuff. A lot of people who are not in business or maybe don't tend to dream that big don't actually think about what the real why is. So for me, my why is always my children, of course, and also how many other moms' lives or women's lives or men's lives, people in humans in general, how many lives can I change in the world? Like that's what it's about for me.
But we also love the designer bags. Let's not get it twisted. Like we also want
Yeah.
to buy the nice things, but we are so focused on the impact of where
Yes.
we're
That's why we all need all the money. There's
Right.
plenty of money out there. So
All
let's
the choice.
do the impact and have all the fun
Yes.
things.
We're here for it. That's my big slogan of 2025. I'm only doing IPAs, income producing activities, and impact producing activities.
Ooh, that was really good. Impact producing activities and income producing activities. And that was not meant to just slide in. I want people to actually hear that. It's really important to consider, what are my income producing activities that I'm doing right now? And what are my impact producing activities that I'm doing right now? That is really good. I don't want to forget that. And I think it's what you guys were just saying too. You have the very big vision. And I hope that I can feel my voice going out. I hope that listeners or viewers actually take a minute and think about, okay, what is inside me that is a vision that I feel is meant to have an impact? I've always thought, even if you're just meant to impact one, you don't come across that one person by accident. You could be meant to impact one person today. Sometimes we don't think about the ripple effect of this tiny dream, or we make it a little smaller. One of you could be raising a future president of the United States, or one of us could bump into a waiter who's having a really bad day, who we influence them, and 5 years from now, they invent something that changes the world. And that is so important to think, do I have something inside me that feels small, but that I may not recognize? I am the one with the dream, and it will reach the one it's meant to reach. And maybe that one is meant to change the world. And maybe you only had to reach one. Maybe your intention only is this one little moment in time. Especially women, we have such powerfully strong intuition to lead us really paying attention to the thoughts in your head, how you let those words come out of your mouth, what you are saying to the world. And then, are you using your gifts? Are you speaking your gifts? Are you tuning into that heart and intuition to really impact either the one or the 100 or the 1 million? And if you do have the ability to impact more and bring in more income and more expansion, why not? I love your dream. I love your visions. Is there anything you guys want to end with before we go on the end of this beautiful call today?
I just want to say thank you. This was an amazing experience. We have been interviewed on podcasts before that felt a little robotic, and we didn't feel like we got to open up and tell our stories. And this has been amazing. I love that you created this, and you're a beautiful soul. And I'm really glad that we were able to connect. And like you said, nothing ever happens by accident. But thank you for giving us an opportunity to really share our stories and talk about like our relationship and our business and our goals and dreams. And it was wonderful.
Yes, I agree. I second that. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
it's such a pleasure. It's so nice to actually connect with you two. And I feel your vision. I feel the wow. Actually, as I said that, oh my gosh, I'm getting super emotional.
Oh.
I feel I feel the importance. I really do. I feel the importance of what you're creating. I feel the fun and the vision of it, but I actually can I'm sitting in the importance of it. So thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to be the women who became before you connected. And thank you for choosing to connect and to create this vision. There's
Thank you.
there's big, beautiful things ahead. And I am so grateful to know you guys, and I can't wait to see what happens. So, ah, so excited. Thank you everyone for listening and watching, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.